Welcome to the Sustainable Living Podcast. Tips, tools, and tactics for living a heart-centered life that honors Mother Earth and her inhabitants. The information shared on the Sustainable Living Podcast reflects the opinions of host Marianne West, Jenise Marianne, and their guests. Please use your own discretion in research before applying any information to your individual situation. Now, here are your hosts, Marianne and Jenise.
Hello, everyone. This is Marianne West, your host. How are you all doing? I know this is for many of you such a busy time in the year. We have Hannuka, we have the solstice coming up, Christmas, New Year, Kwanzaa, and probably all kinds of other holidays I don't even know about. So thank you so much for taking the time to listening to me today. Today, I just come in from my garden. The sun is still shining. We still haven't had any rain whatsoever. It's so dry. It's really crazy. And I think many of you know that this summer has been kind of a garden disaster for me. I just couldn't keep up with watering. So finally, I went out and decided to invest some money in a really good water system component. I had tried so many different things and they blew up in my face and it was so frustrating. And I realized it took away the joy of gardening for me, said I had to keep watering. So if you sit somewhere in snow, you're going, what is she talking about? Sorry about that. But I know for you guys in Australia, you're in your growing season right now. In Southern California, this is usually our, easy growing season. There is some rain. We don't have to go out and water all the time. We can grow cabbages and lettuce and stuff like that, which is hard to do in the summer here. But I hadn't even started anything. I just couldn't deal with all that watering. So what I did, I bought some Netafim, and just so you know, we are not affiliates or anything. It's a company which is based in Israel, and they have been making drip irrigation and other irrigation components for a long time. The components are very high quality. It is plastic, and I did bring some more plastic into my life, which is I'm really working on not to do. But I justified it with this. Their drip irrigation system, or set pipes or tubes or whatever you call them, are guaranteed to last for 12 years. That's huge. A lot of the plastic stuff you put out for irrigation is broken after a year or two. And that was I always felt is just not sustainable to put out all this work to put down the lines, and then after a year or two they're broken and you have to do it again. I mean, it's expense, it's a work, it's a waste. And speaking of waste, the other great thing about Netafim is that they recycle all their components. So if things break, you can give it back to them and it gets recycled. So that's why I decided to go for it. And I think it's working. So far, nothing has blown up, which I'm very, very happy about. Of course, it's a little bit late in the season to plant seeds right now. We should be getting some cold weather. We have had Christmas days where people would hang out on the beach and even swim in the water because it was so warm. But you never know. Last year at this time, if you listened to us then, you heard us talk about me being flooded out and it being cold and all of that. We just never know. So anyways, that's my garden update. And I thought I share it with you because even you all in cold climates, you're probably sitting right now and planning for next year's garden. And if you're in an area where you do need to supplement irrigation, where you don't have enough rain, which I'm so jealous of all you rain people. Anyways, not really. Yeah, just so you know, Netafim is some which seems to be working for me. And I am so grateful because this whole irrigation stuff and water preserving and going to install one and not install one, this has been going on for a long time for me. And I will talk about that in a different garden update later in the year when we are getting back into the full growing or summer growing season. So I'm super grateful. And this is actually what I wanted to talk to about today to you all. I think it's a time of the year where many of us, and I have to tell you, I'm not a present buyer and I'm not a huge consumer, so I'm not counting myself in here. And our family has decided a long time ago that adults will not give each other presents. It's optional to have presents for the kids because they have so much stuff. So we usually try to do more of an experience, to spend a date together, maybe take them to the movies, go to the zoo, do something fun. So I am not part of the shopping like crazy and wrapping presents crowd. And I think a lot of people are doing this. It's not really tied to Christianity at this point. I think it has become more of a holiday, like Thanksgiving or 4th of July, where people of all different religions partake. At least the friends I have. I know that I have Muslim friends which also do Christmas just because, it's all around. And I guess it's fun to put up lights and all of that. Which I'm terrible. I'm a real Scrooge when it comes to that because I look at the lights and yes, they are beautiful, but I keep thinking about the light pollution. I keep thinking about how much energy we are using to produce those, and yeah. But that's not what I wanted to talk about. I wanted to talk about gratitude. And I think when we are stressed, it's easy to forget how beautiful our life is, how much we have to be grateful for. So the other day I was driving home from our Bangkok Center of Sustainability. I was doing some watering over there. It just follows me around, this watering. And I really don't like watering. I don't know what it is. I just don't. Maybe because I have been doing way too much of that. But I was driving home and I think I was listening to Freak Economics, which is a public radio show. And they were talking about how by now it has been so well researched that gratitude improves our life tremendously. I'm sure all of you have been hearing by now about gratitude journals and keeping them, which it's a good idea. But I think the point I wanted to get to is how quickly we forget how much we have. And this is the human condition that we think if we only had this, whatever it is, for me, my watering system right now, right? Or the new car or the higher income, that we think, oh, if we get there, then it's going to be so much easier and it's going to be so beautiful and all of that. And we appreciate it when we get there, and then we forget and it becomes normal and we take it for granted. One really good example they had in the radio show, and I will do my best to find that episode and link it in the show notes. Here is an example he gave, and it really made a lot of sense to me. So if you're a runner or a bicyclist for that matter, and you're going against the wind, you're fighting really hard and it's difficult. You're slow and you have to work 3 times as hard as if you wouldn't have wind going against you. I know that. Well, I rode my bicycle from San Diego to Eugene, Oregon when I was a little bit younger than I'm now. And going up the coast, There are times where you would go downhill and you would have to pedal really hard because there was so much wind coming towards you, so much headwind. So I totally can relate to this example, and maybe you can too. So you're going against the wind and it's so difficult. And then you come to a point where you turn, and now the wind is behind you and it's pushing you forward. And suddenly it's so much easier to run or to bike. And you're happy about it. You're grateful. Then a couple of miles in, you just take it for granted. You don't think about this anymore. I said, how much the wind is helping you along. I think we have so many instances in our life like that. The other day, and again, you have heard me talk about Steemit before on the podcast, and I have been spending a little bit too much time there lately, or maybe not, because it also has paid out quite well for me, so I'm happy about that. But one of the discussions we had was what would happen if we are faced with a disaster. This is not a prepping show right now, so we're not really going there. But what I want to tell you is that one of my friends who lives in Pakistan just mentioned in a comment, said she has to boil all her water or heat all her water for dishwashing, for bathing, for all of those things. And I thought, how many of us stop in the morning when we are opening the water faucet and hot water comes out, or as a shower, or we need to do dishes, and really step into being grateful that we have this convenience, or even just the running water convenience. We are so used to that we are not even thinking about it. So I kind of thought that this would be a good challenge for all of us to finish out this year, to figure out some way of participating in that wave of gratitude. And I think a lot of you already do and are aware of this. Maybe some of you are keeping a journal. Journals are not easy for everyone. Not everybody is a writer. People have different ways of expressing, and it can even become stressful if you feel, I need to write in this journal every day. And it's really not about writing down what you're grateful for. It's about actually feeling it. Taking a deep breath and just feeling, stepping into that feeling of being grateful for whatever it is, like the running water, like your husband who brings you coffee in the morning, or your wife. My invitation to you is to look for ways to express your gratitude and to look for small things in your life you keep for granted. Or let's say the ones we never think about, and step into gratitude for those things. It could be people, it could be your neighbor who is very quiet and doesn't throw crazy parties. Really think about what are small things that you have a job. Maybe it doesn't make huge amounts of money, but you find something good in it. Find the positive you're having right now in this work situation, or the relationship, or even that we have devices we can listen to a podcast to. There are so many people which don't. Just really look for those small things. I really want to invite you to do that. And then also think about different ways of expressing it. It does not have to be the gratitude journal. A few of the ways I was thinking about is maybe you say it out loud in the shower, when you're in the shower in the morning, or whenever you take your shower, to express 1 or 2 or 3 things you're grateful for. Or look in the mirror, smile at yourself. Be grateful that you have a mirror. That could be one. Another one could be thinking about people in our lives we're grateful for. Maybe it's even the clerk at the grocery store, which smiles at you every time you come shopping, or is helpful finding something, stuff like that. And then gives that person a card. Doesn't have to be huge. It could be a homemade card. It could be a photo you're taking if photography is your thing. And just one sentence. Thank you for being you, whatever it takes. or reach out to people which have influenced your life, and maybe you never told them how much their advice or their help or their silence and listening to you meant to you. Another thing, and if you send cards, we also keep our post office in business, which is again something we really forget to be grateful for. Granted, it's not always the fastest, but I think so it's actually pretty amazing how fast a letter can go from here to everywhere in the world. Most packages arrive in one piece, and if not, they can be tracked and found again. And again, this is not reality in a lot of countries. And here, think about Amazon is a huge company, and if you buy anything from Amazon and it gets lost, or what happened to me not that long ago, it got stolen from my front porch, they replace it and it comes to you again, which is amazing, right? Something to be absolutely grateful for. Now I'm going to advertise a little for ourselves. If you go to our website, we have a button. And if you press that button before you do a purchase at Amazon, fit from it. And that would really help us out. So that would be great. Another idea I had, and if you do that, I would love to hear. For any of it, if you do it, tell us. I would love to hear from you. You can find us on Instagram, Facebook, and obviously email sustainablelivingpodcast@gmail.com. Or you can go to the contact us form on the website. But here's the idea I would love for you guys to consider and see if we can make it a movement, okay? I'm thinking of figuring out things we are grateful for and doing a tree planting ceremony however often you want to. Obviously, you probably don't want to do that every day, but maybe even once a week. Find a neighbor in your yard, public trees, and you don't necessarily have to buy them. This could be something where we propagate a tree. Sometimes there are city programs where the city will give away trees, which might be shade trees, and you could plant that by your school, for example, and then be the responsible party to water that and make sure the tree doesn't die. Or in your neighborhood, there are so many places where trees would just make such a big difference. And then when you plant it with a grateful heart and put all that energy into that events, and every time you go to your tree, all that feeling of gratefulness could come back to you. I am really grateful for all of you who are listening to us and who have forgiven us that we are a little bit irregular in our postings right now. I think I've talked about it before, that both Jenise and I have been going through some health challenges, I want to call it, and also family events, which kept us away from our regular schedule. Probably this is the last podcast for this year. And we are full of confidence that we are stepping back into feeling in better health. I can say that for myself. I'm feeling way better and come back to you on a weekly, regular basis. And if that doesn't seem possible, then maybe we switch to coming to you every other week. In the meantime, thank you so much for listening. Whatever you're celebrating, whatever your holiday is, we wish you the best time ever. Thank you so much, and bye for now.